Good morning. I'm Barbara Colton. I'm Vice President of the Board of Trustees here at Mainline Unitarian Church. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers here today. Welcome to all of you here and to all the friends joining us online. An especially warm welcome to any visitors joining us today. We look forward to getting to know you during coffee hour. Please join us in the room across the hall for a chance to chat and get to know you. We also hope everyone here will have a chance to stay a little bit after coffee hour to join in the art group's exhibition, The Spirit of Trees. It's an opportunity to chat and get to know and talk to the artists. We are a liberal faith, nurturing hearts and minds with spiritual growth, connections, care, and lifelong learning as we work together in beloved community to make the world just a little bit more just. We are honored to have Reverend Carrie Mueller with us this morning as our minister. Welcome back, Reverend Carrie. Reverend Carrie was brought up as a Unitarian in the Paramus Church in New Jersey. She attended MLUC as an undergraduate at Bryn Mawr College, I believe, in 1961 and has been a member here several times, most recently since 2011. Reverend Carrie has had careers as a Latin teacher, stay-at-home mom, railroader, and UU minister serving congregations in Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Arkansas, and some solo and some shared with her husband, Reverend Dave Hunter. She has a BA in Ancient Greek from Bryn Mawr, a Master's of Education from Temple, a Master's in Classics from Cornell, an MBA from Wharton, and a Master's of Divinity from Wesley Theological Seminary. As she says, no scrap of education or experience is wasted in ministry. She and Dave are now happily retired and living in Whitehorse Village. In her spare time, Reverend Carrie enjoys making pottery and altered books and reading novels. We are delighted to have her here with us this morning as our guest minister. We also have Dawn Star Sarah's Borchelt, our Director of Lifespan Faith Development, leading our Time for All Ages. Dr. Tracy Simpson will be our worship associate, and Nathan Thurls will be providing our music, singing, and playing guitar today. Now, let us join together in affirming our mission statement. Together transform lives through love, service, and our welcoming faith. Thank you.
If I had the luxury foresight, see where all the passage folk would flow, I'd sit forever in this tortured place, wondering where you'd tell me to go. In this stream, the fire is burning bright. It laughs to the joke of regret. I found this window into the place beyond. all these things that tear me apart. And if I had the luxury of time, see before me chances that were mine, I'd plant 1,000 acres of intent and ask them to forgive my heart. In this stream, the fire is burning bright. It laughs to the joke of regret. I found this window into the place beyond, all the things that tear me apart. If I had the luxury of time to see before me chances that were mine, you know exactly what I'd do, and maybe you'd still be here.
Morning. For our chalice lighting this morning, I offer this symbol of hope and high intent. I bequeath this flame to you. This is the light that is lit for everyone who comes into the world. Bear this light to others, one by one, to let the flame go from life to life until all are lit with its warmth. Would you please now rise in body or spirit and join Nathan in hymn number 18, What Wondrous Love.
Wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down beneath the sorrow's crown, where friends they gathered round. Oh my soul, oh my soul. Oh friend they gathered round. Oh my soul. Love to all friends, I will sing, I will sing. To love and to all friends, I will sing. To love and to all friends, who pain and sorrow mend.
Now, I wonder what this could be. Any ideas? Could be a bandage. A headband? Yeah. A belt. I kind of don't think it's any of those things. So, up there we have two cities, Jerusalem and Jericho, and we have a path, a road that goes between them. So I think this is a road between the two cities. And here we have some big rocks along the path. Really big. Bigger than these look, because that's a road, so these are really big. And let's see. Here we have some people. And they're maybe hiding behind these rocks? I don't know. Do you think people should hide behind rocks on roads? Is that a good sign? No, it's not a good sign. Okay, so we got that set up. Jesus was a great teacher who lived a very long time ago, and when Jesus was alive, people often followed him and asked him questions. Sometimes he told them stories called parables so that they could understand the answers to their questions. And one day, a person asked Jesus what the most important thing in life was, and Jesus said, "You already know the answer to that." "That's true," said the person, "I do. It's to love God and to love people just like they are your neighbors." The person thought for a moment, and then he asked another question. "But who is my neighbor?" So Jesus, the great teacher, told this parable. Once there was a traveler, someone who went along the road from Jerusalem down to Jericho. And as he went along his way, he was attacked by robbers. They hurt him, took everything he had, including his clothes, and left him on the side of the road, half dead. There was also a great priest, or holy man of the temple, who went down the road from Jerusalem down to Jericho. And as he went on his way, he came to the place where the traveler lay. And he crossed to the other side of the road, and he passed by him, leaving him there. Boo. There was also someone who worked at the temple who went from Jerusalem down to Jericho. He was one of the people who helped the priests, and he took care of the temple and helped with the music. He was called a Levite. When the Levite came to where the traveler was, he went on to the other side and he went along his way. There was also a person who went on the road who did not live in Jerusalem. He was visiting from the country called Samaria. The people in Samaria did not even like the people in Jerusalem, and the people in Jerusalem did not like the people from Samaria. But when the stranger came to where the traveler lay, he went to him. The stranger put medicine on the places where the person was hurt. He gave him his cloak to put on so he wouldn't be naked, and he put him on his donkey and took him to a place to spend the night. And in the morning, he gave the innkeeper enough money for the hurt man to stay there until he was well. Now, I wonder who is the neighbor to the traveler? Could it be this one? What about this one? These guys? No. This guy? Yeah. I wonder who is your neighbor? And I wonder if you are a good neighbor. I invite the children to go to their class. And we'll see you at coffee hour.
Each month, we donate half our weekly collection to a worthy organization in need. This month, the recipient of our offering outreach is the Eastern Pennsylvania Trans Equity Project, or EPTEP. The organization was nominated by Lilia Weber, who serves on their board. The organization's services are focused on people who identify as transgender and gender expansive, with no regard to race, economic status, or gender assigned at birth. Today, we have an example of the organization's work. They have helped Mateo. He is one of 8 children in an immigrant family and the first in his family to attend college. EPTEP has assisted Mateo with 2 educational scholarships, the first as an undergraduate at Moravian University, and most recently, graduate education at Boston University, where he is pursuing an advanced degree in social work. His goal is to pursue a career in counseling, where he wants to support Spanish-speaking transgender people as they work through their gender transition. To make a cashless donation, whether watching remotely or here in the sanctuary, follow the instructions that you see on the screen or on the QR code on the back of the order of service. The offering will now be greatly received. Will the ushers please come forward?
There's a smile that lifts you up. The air's as thin as a neutrino's trace. You can see through space and time where the bang began. My eyes can see the party now. The flash of light, red balloons separating all that is and will ever be. We are old as ancient things, forged in the stars and spun in swings. We are nothing but nothing without love. She holds the hand of an endless flame. Well, she and her mom walk through the field. She looks through the sky to connect all of the dots. This one's a hunter, that one's a bear. This one's a nebula, a mother of suns. No darkness can take this tiny fire of a night. We are old as ancient things, forged in the stars and spun in swings. We are nothing but nothing without love. Whoa, whoa, whoa. dust of all these things is gathering before their eyes. The light of these fires means nothing without love. We are old as ancient things, forged in the stars and spun in swings. We are nothing but nothing without love. We are old as ancient things, forged in the stars and spun in swings. We are nothing but nothing without love.
Will you join with me in the affirmation of gratitude found in your order of service? Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for all those who share their gifts, for we are enriched by their giving. And let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others. No, I'm going to sit down for a minute.
It is our custom to share our personal joys and sorrows, expecting to be heard, accepted, and supported. Candles of Community is our ritual of personal sharing and support. After each candle is lit, please join me in saying, "We hold you in our hearts." This morning, we light a candle of joy that was missed last week, celebrating the birthday of Gigi O. Miller on June 9th. Happy birthday, Gigi. We hold you in our hearts. And today, it's my pleasure to light a candle of joy and pride for my son, Shane, who celebrated his Eagle Scout Court of Honor yesterday, achieving the highest rank in Scouts after 11 years in Scouting. It was such a joy to see him standing tall in his uniform, receiving his Eagle Charge. For Shane and our family, we hold you in our hearts. And for all joys and sorrows too deep for words, we light a candle. So today's reading is To Train Yourself to Show Up by Rabbi Sharon Bruce. Buried deep within the Mishnah, the first major written collection of the Jewish oral traditions from around the 3rd century, is an ancient practice reflecting a deep understanding of the human psyche and spirit. When your heart is broken, when the specter of death visits your family, when you feel lost and alone and inclined to retreat, that's when you show up. You entrust your pain to the community. Please join me now for a moment of silent reflection.
Thank you, Dr. Tracy, and all the others who have been so wonderfully helpful this morning. And thank you for inviting me to share this pulpit this morning. When I was sinking down, when I was sinking down, the death of a loved one, a dire diagnosis, the loss of a job, a divorce, clinical depression, rejection of your true identity. Sooner or later, everyone experiences a sinking down, at least once, maybe multiple times as one thing piles on another. When I was sinking down some decades ago, I began by literally counting my blessings, considering my resources, friends, family support, education, and then I came to this church. I had been brought up as a Unitarian, attended here while in college. Thank you, Catherine Davis, who drove me those many years ago. And like many, I drifted away. But this was a community of care and concern. And coming home here, where my parents were now respected elders, was a first step in putting my life back together. And indeed, it was ultimately a first step towards my capstone career. Connection, community, relationships. How can I survive? How can I contribute? How can I raise my children? These were the questions uppermost in my mind and deepest in my heart. So it should not be surprising that when I recently came across this essay by Rabbi Sharon Brous in the New York Times on the subject, I read it avidly, and I emailed my local bookstore in Wayne to order her book. Here is an extract from the essay, and you heard the introduction from Dr. Tracy. The text describes a pilgrimage, a ritual from the time of the Second Temple. Several times each year, hundreds of thousands of Jews would ascend to Jerusalem, the center of Jewish religious and political life. They would climb the steps to the Temple Mount and enter its enormous plaza, and turning to the right en masse, circling counterclockwise. Meanwhile, the brokenhearted, the mourners, and here I would also include the lonely and the sick, would make the same ritual walk, but they would turn to the left and circle in the opposite direction, every step against the current. And each person who encountered someone in pain would look in that person's eyes and inquire, "What happened to you? Why does your heart ache?" My father died, a person might say. There are so many things I never got to say to him. Or perhaps my partner left. I was completely blindsided. Or my child was sick. We're awaiting the test results. Those who walked from the right would offer a blessing. "May the Holy One comfort you," they would say. "You are not alone." And then they would continue to walk until the next person approached. This timeless wisdom speaks to what it means to be human in a world of pain. This year, you walk the path of the anguished. Perhaps next year, it will be me. I hold your broken heart, knowing that someday you will hold mine. Oh, I thought, how can we do this in our churches? And immediately it began to seem impractical. The small scale, the wrong architecture, the absence of festivals. Anyway, I'm not serving a church these days. It's up to you and yours to decide, to work out the details. And it's not really about the ritual per se, it's about living towards the idea of caring for one another. Rabbi Brous devotes a short and engaging book called The Amen Effect to translating this ritual into living spiritual practices for us. She begins with showing up. You go to the funeral, you attend the wedding, you visit the house where a terrible tragedy has occurred. In seminary, I learned to call this the ministry of presence. You can't fix anything. That's for the medical people and the first responders and the therapists and the trauma response team and the legal system, and even they have their limits. But everyone can offer presence, a shoulder to cry on, a compassionate ear to listen. It looks like nothing, but it's not always easy, and it helps enormously. She calls it the very holy work of not running away. In the decades I've been doing ministry, I've conducted a lot of memorial services. UU memorials are among the best because we focus on the life of the deceased and the healing of families. 3 stand out to me, although I never knew the dead persons. My first funeral, while I was still a student, using a borrowed robe, it involved a young widow, her second widowing, and a suicide in the face of a terrible diagnosis. Impulsively, after the service, I handed the widow my crumpled, pasted up, dot matrix script. She told me later that she kept it under her pillow for 6 months and found great comfort in it. The other 2 were the inevitable and dreadful death of a baby who was born with a fatal condition. The parents were prepared. They knew from the beginning, and they had been working on it, but it was dreadful. And then, out of the blue, came the death of elderly parents who were killed by their mentally ill son. All of these were incredibly, unimaginably tragic, and yet real people, real families experienced them. I held all those survivors in care as best I could. Their families and friends and their communities gathered around them. The very holy work of showing up, of not staying away. Browse offers 8 practices for the brokenhearted, for those not yet heartbroken, and what you might call preventive maintenance for the rest of us. Each is a chapter, and each is worthy of a sermon in itself. Please hold on. The antidote to loneliness is sacred connection. See no stranger. Every single person is worthy of love. Come alive. This generation calls us to do great things. Grieve and live. Our capacious hearts can hold both sorrow and celebration. Hold the healers. A prisoner cannot free herself. Bear witness. The work is not to fix, but to love. And wonder. Curiosity is essential to our healing. Now, these, in my view, are all true and good and worth incorporating in our daily lives as best we can. And I commend to you these practices and this book. But there is a deeper layer, both in the Amen effect and the parable of the Good Samaritan that Dawn Starr brought to us earlier. Rabbi Browse brings it up towards the end of her book. In the parable, you have to dig a little bit to find it, but it is deeply implied in Rabbi Browse's "See no stranger." Each and every person is worthy of love. I thought about all of this while I attended the funeral of a lovely man that I hardly knew. When I met Joe, he was well on his journey into dementia. He was pleasant, but the only real conversation I ever managed with him was about railroads, which was my second career and his lifelong passion. But I admired his wife, and I saw how they cared for each other under difficult circumstances. And I made a point, and they made a point, of showing up, as Rabbi Browse insisted. So the funeral was at a large and beautiful Catholic church on the Villanova campus. And let me point out that I tell you all this with the permission of Nancy, his widow. The chosen text, which is unusual for a funeral, but it was Nancy's choice, was the Good Samaritan, because it exemplified Joe's life, the parts that I had seen only indirectly. The priest gave many examples of Joe's kindness, and then he unpacked the text in a way that was familiar to me from Wesley Seminary and which you heard from Dawn Starr earlier. The neighborly man, the one who showed mercy, belonged to a disfavored group. They might have been the GLBTQ people of their days, They were Samaritans. They were considered as foreigners, vilified, excluded. They might have been the undocumented people, the people of color, the good rejected person who does the right thing. And I was pleased, grateful to hear this powerful view in a context in which I didn't feel entirely at home. All of us, the priest said, all of us are created in the image of God, and all of us are good, and it is the call of every human being to welcome our fellow pilgrims. I was certainly glad to hear that. And then the priest made a slip of the tongue, and I began frantically scribbling notes on my order of service. You can't see them from here, but they're down at the bottom. He asked, who was a neighbor to the robber? Meaning to say, of course, who was a neighbor to the robber's victim? I found myself back with Rabbi Brous when she expanded her understanding of the brokenhearted. Here's what she writes. I have spoken about mourners and those who are unwell or are caring for others who are suffering, but there is one remaining category named explicitly in the Mishnah alongside mourners, someone who has been punished by ostracization, the menuda. The menuda, the ostracized person, is deemed to have endangered the community in word or action. This is a severe punishment that was applied only in rare and extreme circumstances. They could no longer do business, teach, learn, or engage in any social interaction. They could not even approach within 6 feet of any other human being. And yet, I'm leaving out a lot, obviously. And yet these people received the same blessing as the brokenhearted. Why? Some rabbis suggested that it might open the heart of the community, or that the Holy One might open the heart of the ostracized and bring about repentance and restoration. The ancient rabbis, she said, were envisioning a world in which no one is excluded. Now, after last week's service here, I had a word with Corinne Goodwin, the executive director of the Eastern Pennsylvania Trans Equity Project and the recipient of this month's offering outreach. I said I would be speaking about blessing the oppressed and the marginalized, and this month we are recognizing especially GLBTQ people, and later this week comes Juneteenth, now a federal holiday, celebrating the freedom, late and reluctant as it was, the freedom of formerly enslaved persons. I told her I would speak also and be reaching out and blessing even the haters. Immediately, Corinne asked a question, exactly the right question, and she said, how did they get that way? And she answered it herself, from their own trauma. Yes, I agreed, hurt people hurt people. No one is to be excluded. With Rabbi Brous and with the priest who asked us to be a neighbor to the robber, with our own Universalist ancestors who insisted that all souls are ultimately reconciled to God, I say that this level of compassion is the spiritual challenge before us, especially in these times. How do we bless the menuda? What should we do? Clearly, we are not meant to help the robbers rob. Maybe we can find a better way. Maybe we can help them to find a better way to earn their keep. We are to continue working towards justice and equity, against gun violence, for reproductive rights, for, heaven help us, voting rights, and a healthy democracy. Brous has some cautions. We can't do much if we're not safe, so we must look after our own basic well-being. We do not surrender to abhorrent ideas. Our integrity, not to mention the future of the world, is at stake. We do not compromise on deep principle. We do not expect a kumbaya moment to solve everything, but we can begin, at least in our hearts, and eventually in our words and behavior, to see those people as fellow human beings, maybe we can take baby steps towards helping them to heal. How do we go about that? Where do we begin? How do we enlarge our circle of care and concern when tribalism has eroded empathy, when distrust and dehumanization are rampant? Sharon Brous begins with wonder, a concept familiar to us from our 6 sources, which remain an important part of our faith, whether or not they continue to be enshrined in our bylaws. Curiosity, she says, is the birthplace of compassion. How did they get that way? Wonder leads us to a sacred encounter, the recognition of shared humanity. Can we do this? Can I? Sometimes in small ways. At least I can usually refrain from adding to the stew of derision and dismissal. Rabbi Brous offers an idea which helps. It's from a 9th century rabbinic text, a visual precursor to our own inherent worth. She says, every person is accompanied at all times by a procession of angels crying out, "Make way, for an image of the Holy One is approaching." See those angels? Hear those trumpets? They accompany everyone. Your beloved person, the most difficult person in your life, the most loathsome politician you can think of, your broken-hearted neighbor, you. How can anyone harm another? How can they attack anyone? How can they? How can you trample on, humiliate, shoot, denigrate an image of the Holy One? How can you be harsh to anyone, to yourself? Don't miss those angels. They are all around us. When I was sinking down, I did not see those angels. I didn't hear them. But they were with me and with this congregation that helped me to a new life. And they are with us now, proclaiming our humanity, our dignity and worthiness. And they are with the hurt people who are hurting people. Here it is in meme form from someone who calls himself the contemplative mystic. The way you alchemize a soulless world into a sacred world is by treating everyone as if they were sacred until the sacred in them remembers. Amen, shalom, salam, and blessed be. And now, in honor of Juneteenth, let us rise in body or spirit and sing number 149, Lift Every Voice, first 2 verses, Known and Beloved, as the Negro National Anthem.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let us rejoice in Christ, Zion's bursting sun. Let us resound down as the rolling sea. Sing a song for
As we leave this service, let us go with the angels surrounding us. Make way, for an image of the Holy One is approaching. Let us hear them and embody their song, and remember that every person we meet is also an image of the Holy One, and the light from the chalice goes with us all. Amen, shalom, salam, and blessed be.
Brandon, Tina, Brian, Denekay met for coffee in heaven last week, and he said, I like mine black. And they said, do you ever want to go back? He said, no, we can be who we want to be. He said, no, we can be who we want to be. Matthew Shepard stopped by for dessert, and they asked Matthew, does it still hurt? And he paused and spit over the rail. Fell down to earth just like hair. He said, no, we can be who we want to be. He said, no, we can be who we want to be. Back on earth, he held her tight, she held her tight, they held them tight. It was the morning, and they had cried all night. Through the window they saw the hair, and they asked, have we failed? He said, no, we can be who we want to be. He said, no, we can be who we want to be.